Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Press. We are reaching you live from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now, I read out quite a number of headlines this morning, but now we'll go straight to analyzing the stories I read out to you. Our phone lines are open. You can call in to make your contributions, but remember that you only have 60 seconds to every call, and remember to also turn down the volume of your TV set. My guest on the show this morning is Obadiah Mbila, CEO, Lovewalk Media. Great to have you on the show. In fact, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Annabel.
Great. Okay, so now let's go straight to the headlines. Quite a number of stories that we need to analyze, but let's see how we can manage the next 40 minutes. Taking it from this day newspaper, says Oba of Benin to Nigerians, Tinubu's presidency ordained by God, as he hails Sanwo-Olu's giant strides in Lagos. And then governor takes royal father on tour of State Museum. So I've heard some people, this story have actually created quite a number of hue and cry, both on and off social media. Most people saying that, especially someone as the Oba of Benin coming to tell people who have diverse political ideologies or beliefs, or who have diverse political parties that they believe or support, telling them that one particular person is God's ordained. So according, I heard someone say, which God is it, the small letter G or the big letter, and why is he the one telling us who God has ordained for us? So now the question here is, because I was saying that as a journalist, I have no rights or whatsoever to say a particular political party or candidate is the best for Nigeria, and then some other person says that's supposed to be the same way for every traditional leader, for every religious leader. Do you agree? And what are your thoughts on this?
Well, you know that Oba of Benin went out of his way during the presidential electioneering campaign to perform a traditional acceptance of the Labour Party presidential candidate by providing a drink in what was seen as a revered and a holy cup. So he offered this drink to the presidential candidate of Labour Party, and it was all over the social media. That was his subtle way of accepting the Labour Party presidential candidate and endorsing him indirectly. Now, coming now to tell us that the presidency of Mbila Tinubu was ordained by God, I think he has a valid reason to think so. His and his cabinet actually did not throw their weight behind Tinubu ab initio. And then after all said and done, that man emerged. And for him to tag it as ordained by God, I don't think he is wrong. Maybe people will be saying, for someone on that revered seat, he is supposed not to say that. But they should also remember that this was the same Oba of Benin who provided a sacred cup for the presidential candidate of Labour Party during the electioneering, thus giving a full and tacit endorsement of the Labour Party candidate. Now, against all odds, from party primaries to the main election, Bola Tinubu finally emerged. And he looked at the scenario that led to his emergence and said, look, this is ordained by God. I don't think we should begin to condemn the revered royal father. He has just spoken his mind. And so many of us...
But is that okay, speaking his mind publicly? Even when he has supporters or people around him who might not actually believe in one particular political party, that he's just...
Yes, but the election has come and gone. He was not campaigning for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He was saying from what he has seen, from the judgment he has conducted, as a royal father and also a stakeholder in the presidential project, I do know that this particular presidency was ordained by God.
Isn't that too early? Don't you think that it's too early to actually make such conclusion?
The emergence of Bola Ahmed Tinubu itself, after all the hurdles, after all the potholes that was laid against him, I think it's enough, sufficient for him to conclude that, look, this presidency, if it was not ordained by God, it wouldn't have materialized.
Okay, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Chris John. I'm calling from Nassau State.
All right, Chris from Nassau. Go ahead. You have 60 seconds.
Yes, I think I want to say that it's not fair for our traditional rulers to come out openly I don't think it's fair for our traditional rulers to dabble into politics. No leadership that is not ordained by God. The Oba himself that is seated on that throne was ordained by God. If it was not the will of God, the Oba wouldn't have emerged on that seat. So, because of the nature of our society, different interests, the Oba is representing a variety of people who belong to different political camps, and so it's not fair because his comment shows an endorsement that he is supporting. Even if he was supporting someone else before now, it means that since he has lost that camp, now he is switching camp to Tinubu. So it's going to give a variety of impression on where he stands, and I don't think that is good for the Oba. The Oba is for everybody. The Oba is to support everybody, whoever that God imagines, that God causes to emerge. I mean, it is his responsibility as a royal father to support. And so I don't think we should justify his coming out openly to support any any political leadership. Look at what has happened now in Kogi State. Somebody, a traditional ruler, has made a similar comment. Now the government is worrying him. So I don't think that is fair enough.
All right.
But just to say again on the issue of raping of our women and girls is rather very unfortunate. It shows that we are losing value in our homes and in our families. So I would like to use this platform to appeal to parents and religious organizations that we must strongly preach that people should be careful with the way we handle our ladies, and so that this, because it could be your mother that is being raped, it could be your sister or your relation. How would you feel? So I think that the religious body have a huge challenge in this direction.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chris from Nasarawa. That was very well taken. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Hello, are you there?
Hello.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Okay.
Dave from Kafanchan.
This is your regular caller from Kafanchan, Dave.
Go ahead.
The only thing I want to comment is about the last speaker. He has spoken my mind.
Okay.
Because traditional rulers, they are for all people and all parties. And it's not good for them to come out openly to give a support to any of the party that emerges. He has the right to hold it within him, but not to bring it out publicly to the hearing of the whole people.
All right.
That is my contribution.
All right. Thank you so much, Dave from Kafanchan. Always great to hear from you. All right. So let's land on your thoughts and then.
Yeah, but for me, you see, the scripture is clear about every stool, whether it's traditional stool or says ordained by God, and that is just what the Oba has echoed.
All right, so let's move straight to other stories. Leadership newspaper says local government autonomy, 313 out of 774 councils run by sole administrators. And the writers to that story says only 20 states have elected local government executives. Non-compliant governors have no timetable, or they have no time and then no timetable for local government elections. How does this story?
It's quite an unfortunate aspect of our democracy that leaders who came out to campaign assuring us of the transformation they intend to bring to the table, once they get in there, they continue to rigmarole until 4 years is over. Now, excuse me, the local government is the beginning of the seat of governance in our country. So we should say, if the foundation is not properly placed, don't think that the state government would have a structure to rest on. And don't also think that the federal government would have a very formidable structure to rest on. We have for so long neglected the local government. We have for so long despised their statutory role. We have for so long abused their revenue avenues. You know, you see in some states, trying to eclipse the local government revenue channels, using that same channel for state government, which is all wrong. So much is taking place at the local government level that we ignore. We feel, well, it's a usual game, let it go on. Some state governors do not even have an agenda to, like the leadership newspaper rightly reported, they don't have a program to conduct local government elections. And it goes on year in, year out. One end of tenure of governor to the, then another one comes.
So it actually means that one state governor just comes in and then bring his own person to go fill in the seat?
That is it. That is it. In Abia today, the Labour Party governor has gone ahead to appoint 17 local government mayor. He called them mayor.
Oh, not chairman.
Not local government chairman. Really, unlike other governors in the past who use it to compensate their prejudice, their field men, and so on and so forth. What Abia governor did it was to bring people of means, people who have accomplished so much in their chosen field, to be the mayor of their local government areas.
And is that good? Is that good for you? Does that sound?
Let's see how it goes, because this time around the usual practice is let's settle Annabel with this local government chair. And Annabel goes in there. She had no house before coming into that chair. So first thing, he wants to build a house for himself at the local government, and then of course at the state headquarters. And of course, if the fund is still available, he buys one here in Abuja. The wife didn't have a car, so it's an opportunity to buy one for the wife and for the children, and so on and so forth.
And like one of my guests, the DG of Nasema, Shola Obadiah, said they will not only buy for the wife and the children, but they also buy for the concubines and the best girlfriend.
It's good that a DG of his status is saying it, because I should think that he too may have acquired one for concubines, you know. And sometimes some of these concubines are the real beneficiaries more than the first lady, you know, because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, so they want to maximize it, you know. Oh, it's unfortunate, because it tells you that our democracy is not working.
All right, so because our first caller, Chris from Nasarawa, talked about raping and what we should do about rapists. And then he said something about parents should actually take care of their children, especially the girls. It doesn't only happen to the girls, even the boys most times are being sodomized. So now you have the Guardian newspaper says women lawyers canvass castration of rapists. Do you agree to this?
Well, in the ancient Ethiopia, men who takes care of the queen and the princess are usually castrated. They are not allowed to be their normal self.
So they're not tempted?
Well, they have finished the process. The process of making the man out of you is not there anymore. So nobody is afraid that the man can go into the queen. So that's why we have Ethiopian eunuchs, and that tells you also that raping is not a new thing in our lexicon. It has been on from the time immemorial. Imagine the Bible revealing in Genesis chapter 6 that angels left their abode in heaven. Let's believe that heaven has no economic issues, no population issue. Everything is working out well. The streets of heaven is starved. They don't have NEPA to seize light. So things are working out well there. But it appears it was a man's world. So the angels looked down and found that there were pretty young ladies down there. So come on, everything is complete up there, but there's something that is missing, and that's what we want so much dearly. And they have to leave their abode, a divine place ordained for them, according to the book of the good book. And they came down and tasted the apple and found that it was sweet. And by the time they told them, look, they're closing the gate of heaven, you are not going to go back. It appears there was no regret on their own part because they have found what they are looking for. Now, you see, this has been on and on. The last caller suggested that parents should take care of their female children. Do rapers rape those that parents do not take care of? Is it not those that have been nurtured, those that have comely appeal? Is that are they not the one they go for?
Most of them even have their own children also.
Even we have seen fathers raping their own children. Those fathers that you will say, oh, please take care of this girl child, is the one now that is a culprit in the matter. So it is it is quite disheartening. It is quite disturbing, and the trend goes on. What is it that could be done that has not been done by the Women's Society, the Women Group, the anti-rape NGOs, and so on and so forth? For me, it's not about whether you're taking care of the girl or not. It is looking at our insatiable appetite for sex, the way it drives us to madness, the way it drives us to do what is not acceptable in the society, the way it has destroyed our moral values, that a father, a bishop, a reverend father is involved. So, well, if the Bible declares that angels from the holy height also were involved, so I don't begin to think that
anyone is holier than thou.
Yes, anyone is isolated. I am a living witness to the fact that the rapers are not from the abode of the angels now. They are here. We should plead with them to say, please, these girls need not be traumatized by the action of the rapers. I'm a victim of raping. I'm a victim of rape. Yes, I have said this I think in one of your programs in the conversation. Yes, I was 6 plus when a lady old enough to be my auntie took me off for rape. Was it that my parents were not taking care of me? No. Maybe it has been in her plan for days, for weeks, for months. And then she found an opportunity.
And she grabbed
and did it.
So now, do you agree that to these women lawyers saying that rapists should be castrated, be it female or male?
Would that discourage them? That's the question. I wish it could discourage them, because I advocate for capital punishment to rapists. You know what you have done to that young girl, to that young boy? Often we look at this issue from the gender perspective.
Yes.
We don't also know that, you know, they talk about violence against women. Nobody remembers that there are also violence against men. They also talk about men raping women. Nobody remembers that women are also raping some little boys. So, if that's the action we're going to take against men, what action are we going to take against women who are involved in raping little boys? Someone confessed to me and said, I was sent to a boys' school as a youth corps teacher member, you know, and getting in there, I was teaching class 2 or 3, I can't remember. It should be the 2nd grade or the 3rd grade.
Okay.
And a young boy in that class was courageous enough to write a love letter to me, his teacher.
Oh, no.
So I now said, okay, if he had the courage to write me as his teacher, advancing, making some advancements, I will be courageous enough also to respond to what you have requested. And that was it.
Oh, wow. It's quite sad. Okay, so let's move straight to other stories. Quite a number of stories. And then here on Daily Trust says 5.6 billion naira wheat project scam. Ex-NISAL boss arrested 11 months after sacking. Now take a look at the right that says nabbed lobbying for reappointment. Bolts away 32 official vehicles. But when you go back to the DSS, according to Daily Trust, they say no comment. What's your comment on this?
I would have said no comment also, because this thing has become a recurring decimal. We hear being sum of money carted away by one individual.
Just one person.
One individual. Money that is enough to feed this country over and over and again. One single individual will cut away. How they do it is what I don't know. Do they take it in starches? Or do they corner the bankers and say, do this ABCD for me? How do they do this over time? And then such whooping sum of money would have left the treasury of the public, and no one
finds out.
Nobody. Maina, where is he? We keep naming others. Did he negotiate for his release? Was there any cash that he paid back? Why is it that when they bring this thing to the public, when we now look at it as a public affair, suddenly it will disappear from the public? They have told us this is just one agency of government. By the time we want to scrutinize it further, we will no longer receive any information in that direction.
This one will sweep this one off.
Just fizzle out. Just fizzle out. You are left alone, continue to gaze. So, again, look at what's happening in Sierra Leone today. Do we suppose to continue this coup here, Mali, Nigeria government, Guinea, Bissau, and so on and so forth? Why is it that this thing is not happening in Asia? Why is it that it is not happening in Europe? Do they not have military? The truth is that in Africa, we have not tailored our democracy, our leadership culture to be homegrown. When late Abacha was telling us of homegrown democracy, we appear to have laughed it off. But until we get our own type of leadership culture that is original, that is indigenous, that is real with us, we can never get it right. So there will be loopholes here and there. We will be patching it. It will be leaking from the other side. We are just experimenting. We are not real here for business.
Okay, so I was actually going to touch on that Sierra Leone story, because you find it on almost all the national dailies this morning. But since you've actually touched on it, but then take a look at the Nigerian Tribune. Says ECOWAS condemns attempted coup in Sierra Leone. There was another perspective to that same story, but I can't find it. But let's leave.
Yeah, ECOWAS will always condemn. Would they support? They will not. But the same ECOWAS that is condemning have not sat down to ask themselves the question, why is this thing happening in our clan? Why is it not happening in other clans? And those that are coming out to condemn are also doing the same thing that can trigger a possible military takeover in their own countries.
But then it looks like when they now go to that meeting where they all meet together, it now becomes like when we want to give the advice, they forget that you are also doing something in your own country, your own home country.
Have you closed the gap that can bring in the military? They have not. Apart from Rwanda, and to some extent maybe South Africa, we bring in South Africa here because somehow things are working to some extent. But Rwanda has gotten it right. They now have a roadmap. They can think of what the country could become in the next 5-10 years. They can think of what will happen to their population in the next 10-20 years. They can think of how they are going to industrialize and probably get involved into tech and artificial intelligence manufacturing. That is what one expects to have in other ECOWAS countries, not just doing the same thing over and over again,
condemning and
sustaining a system that will create a loophole. Look at what's happening in Zamfara state, under a governor, under a federal government. Terrorists are managing some local government, and after taxing them to pay certain amount, the local government was not able to deliver. The next thing is that they are taking people for ransom. And we are here as a nation thinking that things are working just because it is Zamfara, it's not Abia, it's not Lagos. You think things are working out well? The other day, the National Security Advisor came to tell us that ever since President Bola Tinubu was sworn in, have we heard that anything is happening in Kaduna-Abuja Road? But that's Kaduna-Abuja Road. What of Niger State? What
of the Southeast? The one they sit at home?
What of the Southeast, where sit at home has become an acceptable way of governance in Southeast? The governors have tried to do something about it, and they were frustrated. Which means there is a government that is stronger than the government that we have all elected. So we are not disturbed about this. We are not worried that in Niger State, some local governments are no go area to the governor himself. He's not allowed to come in there. The president might visit Niger State, but he cannot visit a certain local government area. And we are happy on things are working.
I think you just touched a very spot in me this morning. Let's move to other stories, because you talked about governors. On all of the papers, still says, okay, let me take it from Nation's newspaper. Says Shuaibu's declaration renews Edo 2024 battle with Obaseki clash of camps likely at the same venue, and then you just begin to wonder. Now you have this clash of titans, and then both of them are going to be doing their declaration, but then they're doing it at the same venue. Even I saw one other paper that says the Obaseki's Philip Schreiber's request was turned down. But then at some point we thought that the Philip Schreiber Obaseki's field was all over, because we saw some public apology from the deputy governor, and then it looks like it's getting worse every day. Take it back again to Rivers State, between the current governor and the former governor, that's the Abuja landlord, Nyesom Wike, and the current governor, Fubara. At some point, Fubara went to apologize, saying that it's just a father and son feud. But now you're saying that it's more like a, let me use the Nigerian term, basbus.
Well, I don't know what Obaseki wants. Maybe until what he wants is revealed, we'll be doing a guesswork. Philip Schreiber was all over the electronics media this morning. He occupied TVC, he occupied which channel. He was in Arise television, where he formally declared his intention to run for the governorship. Philip Schreiber has been a very strong activist before he came to occupy the state governorship office. And it is his right to aspire to become the governor of that state. He knows very well. They know also that he knows every terrain in Edo State. So who is more qualified to run for that office like Philip Schreiber? But Governor Obaseki may have someone he prefers to succeed him. So he would like to stop Philip Schreiber using his executive power. However, we must also know that the political, the business of politics is filled with one battle or the other. So you are a juggernaut, a political juggernaut, when you bulldoze your way through, when you are able to confront the power that is confronting you. And that's what makes you a politician. If you can navigate, negotiate, lobby, and win that position. People like Bola Tinubu are being celebrated as president today, but they pass one form of intimidating hurdle or the other. It is the ability to surmount this hurdle and sail through. That's what makes you a political juggernaut. Okay. So you're saying that Philip Schreiber is actually going through that hurdle? He's passing through the baptism of fire. And I think he is capable.
Okay, so let's take our next story. I'm going to ask you this one. I would like you to take them together. New Telegraph says, continuing with Buhari's policies shows government lacks focus. And that's coming from Sule Lamido. And then you go to, I think it's the Guardian newspaper this morning that says, coming from Matthew, I can't find it. Maybe from the Guardian. I can't actually remember where. Yes, coming from Matthew Kuka, where he said that he asked the judiciary not to have anything to do with politics. Yeah. So now, with all that happened during the elections, you go to the tribunal, and then you go to the Supreme Court, or you come back to the appeal court, and then some governors who were sacked were replaced, or some who were replaced were sacked again, or you have that very disturbing story about the judge and the clerical error. Yeah. Now, coming with all that, putting that together, let's take coming from the Archbishop of Sokoto Diocese, saying that the judiciary should be careful not to put their hands into politics. That's one on the side. And then coming from Sule Lamido, saying that continuing with Buhari's policy is lack of focus.
Yeah, I listened to Bishop Kuka's address at the House of Justice Summit in Kaduna over the weekend. I think it was on Friday also. And I would recommend that his paper to be a working document in transforming our democracy. Especially, INEC need that his paper to improve on their electoral scheme of work. The judiciary also need it. It was a very fine, brilliant paper, of course, a vintage cooker. And Sule Lamido is right. How can a government say they want to continue with the Buhari policy? What was Buhari's policy? Did he have? I can't remember one policy. I would think this was manufactured or put together by the Buhari team.
Okay, let me remind you one: the cashless policy or cash redesign. Does that actually mean anything?
Cash what? The one that is putting Emefiele in one form of prison or the other, from DSS to...
Even though, I don't know if you saw that headline saying that I think it was one of the lawyers or the judge, one of the judges saying that there was no national insecurity cost at that time, or whatever cost at that time, the national insecurity that was cost at that time is not based on that Emefiele's policy. I saw that story, I think it was on Thursday or so.
Now, it is good to have a policy, but it's also better to have a tested policy, a proven policy, a policy that is people-oriented, a policy that is responsive to the people's demand and desire. So when a policy failed, and someone is telling me that you want to continue the failed policy, I should applaud you. It shows you lack focus. One thing I would have expected this government to do is to tell us a roadmap. In the next 4 years, in the next 8 years, in the next 20 years, this is what we are going to do. And that is what I expect of President Tinubu. Listen and listen very well. It is not enough to say, I have come to this presidency to make a change. When you cannot tell us, those that you are ruling, those that you are leading, this is where we are going. Yes, I made this policy on ground, but because the people have said that this policy did not work, I'm not going to sustain it. I'm going to change it.
All right.
And this is where we are going to. Nobody cares to tell us where we are going to. It just you have a renewed hope agenda. What is the content of the renewed hope agenda, and how is it structured to run? Where can the people come in? These are the things that we need to critically look at.
All right, our time is fast spent. Thank you so much, Obadiah, CEO, Lovewalk Media. It's always a pleasure having this talk with you. But then, because we're going straight to our social media from here, there's a particular story that I saw, and we'll take it from social media corner. And I'd like to get at least one word from you in that regard. Says, I'm coming from Peacock, says, Nigeria, my country. We departed Lagos about an hour ago on United Nigeria to Abuja, and upon arrival, the cabin crew confidently announced that we have arrived at Abuja, only for us to realize that we landed in Asaba. Apparently, our pilot was giving wrong flight plan from Lagos. In one word, is this not? I saw this as abracadabra. The more you look, the less you see. Well, what does it look to you? Well,
thank God we don't have any airport around Nigeria, because if this thing could happen to us, and then the next place is that we are landing in an airport that is controlled by terrorists, bandits, man, that's very dangerous. I have not found the details why that pilot diverted this. Even though they said it was weather. But they say it's weather. That should have officially been made known to the passengers. And not that was not what was told them. You know.
All right, so let's take the next story. This one is from Davido. He says, speak when necessary. The words carry more value than but then his manager, that's Israel DMW, having a crisis with his wife, comes out to tell us how ladies are beginning to woo him or toast him to marry him. He says, there's a picture he sent for a particular lady who says, hello, how are you doing today? Just take heart, or it is well. Come marry me. not even marry me. Come marry me, but I am not a Virginia. Oh, I love you. Another person comes out to say, I am Joy, and I would like you to be my friend. I understand what you are going through this period. I honestly think what you need now is a mature lady that understands life and your personality. I live in Delta State. I would really appreciate if you get back to me. You will definitely not regret it, as you will find a true friend in me. And the last one from says, not all girls are bad though. I choose to be a church girl because God opened my eyes to know what I have never known. Pray God open your eyes to know the real church girls. I beg. I am a winner, come and marry me. But then he goes to say that I know they do church people again. What is it with women and then toasting someone because they had a marriage issue? What is happening? Anyway, we'll leave it at that for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a wonderful time here on The Press. I will see you tomorrow. And remember to keep watching KAFTAN television. God bless you and yours. God bless Nigeria.